Welcome to Being There. And now that you're here, we're here to share our insights into exploring our interests in the worlds of music, poker, and life. I'm professional poker player, personal coach, and television commentator for the Heartland Poker Tour. I'm Kenna James.
How you doing, guys? I'm Blake Ian, musician, meditator, serial entrepreneur, and novice poker player.
I think of any better way to open up our inaugural show than with introducing you to our audience. Even though you've been playing music for decades, and have opened up for many great artists like Chris Daughtry and Kenny Loggins. You have so many great releases, but we're fortunate that you have a new release in the last month called Homesick.
I had a FaceTime, a Zoom with my producer, Larry Hess, who's produced most of my music, if not all of my music, for the past 5 or 6 years. And we were talking about it, and we were laughing because it was like, people are going to think I ran to my guitar this week, wrote this song, got into the studio, got it recorded just to sort of, take advantage of, not take advantage in a bad way, but just to get it out there because, it might be something people need to hear, a song called Homesick. But the truth is I wrote this song in 2018 and, about some personal experiences that I was going through. And, the nice thing about music and me and Larry had this great conversation that night, about explaining too much about what a song is about can really remove or rob the listener of the ability to relate to it on a deeper level for themselves. Because if I tell you it's about this situation, then it's no longer about your situation. It is definitively about my situation. And so I like to think of it as it came out of the situation I was going through, but it came out of it and now it's its own thing, which can certainly be related to, situations other people are going to, including this whole, quarantine lifestyle that we're all living, this bizarre lifestyle that the whole world is just, together living right now. It's crazy.
But the explanation of something is not the thing. It's just the explanation. And it's a fantastic concept. And I've never heard that before.
One of my things that I just never, it was kind of always bothered me was if a songwriter got up there and told this 3-minute story about what happened to them and then played this 3-minute song about the thing. And it's like, now I'm just connecting the dots between every word he's singing to the exact experience. And I was really removed from their song. I was like, well, this is and it was also a bit of redundancy. You just told me the story. Now you're going to sing me the story in sort of a mysterious, a lot of poetry and lyrics. A lot of the draw is the mystique, right? It's that poetry is not just, I am in love with this girl. It's like, how do you say that in some beautiful way that has a little bit of, you got to dig deep to figure out what they're talking about. So, that mystique, that people like to do that digging and figure out what the story is and also be open to it, applying to their lives. And so I just felt like, so you're going to tell me exactly what happened. Now, any mystique that's in the lyrics is gone because you've already told me the answer. You basically told me the answer before the question. And then, you've given me the solution before you presented.
Yeah, you kind of rob the person of their own personal experience.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with movies, we've talked about movies a lot. We had a whole conversation once on Inception. I know that was a really big thing for you. And there's a lot of movies that just simply are open to. They are made intentionally to be open to interpretation. There is no definitive answer, and I think it's important, to have those guys.
People who go through life searching for the answer or wanting the answer before the experience.
Yeah.
And I know that's been me for a large part of my life and kind of my discovery of letting go of that almost addiction, but enjoying the process more along the way.
I guess most people would think you'd want to know what the cards are before you play the hand, right? Because that you have the biggest advantage. But after a while, you have all the money in the world. Are you going to enjoy the game of poker? Probably.
Right.
Yeah,
but there's so many analogies like that. It's like some people want to dip their toe in the water before they jump in the pool, and other people will just dive in, and because they
Right.
want to have that experience, that thrill. So
Right.
we'll get to that as well. But without further ado,
So the song's called Homesick. It was released on Friday, March 27th, and you can find it by going on YouTube and typing in Blake Ian Homesick. You can find it on blakeian.com, blakeianmusic.com, and it's available on Spotify and iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal Music, Google Play, all those stores, Amazon. So wherever you listen to music, basically, if you go ahead and search for Blake Ian Homesick, it should pop right up and you'll be able to hear it.
Blake, as we take a look at your album cover here, let's have a listen.
Sometimes my heart, it beats like a drum, tearing a hole through my chest. And I close my eyes to see what's inside and get to the bottom of this. When my skin turns to stone, it's time to take me back home. But I'm just not sure where that is anymore. My time don't feel like my own. Sometimes my heart slows to a crawl, causing my mind to go numb. My thoughts linger on as I try to recall where they go and where they come from. When my body returns to dust, it's time to go home if I must. But I'm just not sure where that is anymore, and my shine is starting to rust. Sometimes my heart finds peace in the night. It fills up with visions and dreams, and I can see past the confusion won't last. Shit ain't as bad as it seems. Then my heart will float like the leaves on a river that never recedes. I'll find myself swimming in an ocean of good health, a truth in which I still believe.
wow, man, your music, it moves me, man.
Thanks.
It really moves me. Like a river that never recedes, huh?
Mm.
Wow. I told you, I've listened to, most all of your music, and I even called you before, and you got me in tears, It's, you have haunting rhythms, but your lyrics are piercing.
Wow, man.
And
Thanks.
I so appreciate your talent and being your friend. Yeah. So thanks
Well,
for sharing
likewise,
that.
man. Thank you. It's funny, as I listen to it, I kind of go back and forth on the fence of what I said before, because, I think it's doesn't take too much explanation to know that this song is about emotional well-being and mental health and that kind of stuff. And so
Yeah.
it's not too hidden, these lyrics, you know. And so
Right.
and
So it's one of those ones for us that aren't the brightest, sharpest knives in the kitchen, so to speak.
well, I like to have some blunt, you know. I mean, I like beauty and using words to make them, you know, rhythmic and just using it to create beauty. But yeah, a lot of times I also like a lot of blunt, straightforward, you know, kind of honesty, and maybe being, you know, I've always enjoyed just sharing something raw that kind of scares me to share, you know, that kind of, that's sort of my thrill seeking in a way, getting on stage with a guitar, singing to a lot of people, the most honest thoughts and the most intimate thoughts I've ever had. It's a very scary thing. But I think for me, it's like how other people get on a hang glider or, you know, go on a roller coaster. It's like, that's sort of how I thrill seek, is by doing that. And I hate roller coasters. So
well, it reminds me. I was watching a show on TV, documentary the other day on Richard Pryor, and that they were saying that's what he did. He'd fly without a net. He would just go and say stuff that was so raw. So I think that crosses over, you know, with really special artists, that they don't, you know, filter themselves down and be so politically correct all the time, that they
or like
just say what's.
Yeah, like more, I would say more than politically correct. I think a lot of, or not a lot of, but some artists are guarded, and that's okay too. I mean, I think music is so subjective that I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do anything. But what I enjoy is being unguarded. That's what I get out of music.
Yeah.
And then my hope is that, especially with a song like this, and this was my point that I was saying, is that with a song like this, you know, my hope is that it would reach people that have a chance to listen to it somehow, that they may be going through some similar situation, and it may help them, as so many, you know, forms of art have helped me. And when, you know, other people that I know or respect or have heard of, you know, go through these things, it makes it, normalizes it, makes me feel less alone, and it's helpful and provides with insight. And so I hope that would do this. And so that's why part of me really, more than ever, wanted to share a little bit about what this song was about. Though I ended up holding back in the long run. And instead of this long 2-page thing that I was actually writing that I was going to share, and I decided not to, I decided to let the song speak for itself. I just sort of went with, you know, this song was written during one of the hardest years of my life. That's what one sentence. And I didn't give anybody any more details than that, because hardest years of my life, that can relate to anybody. You know, it still leaves it open to interpretation of what's going on with your year, you know, what might be different.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Talk about you have these great individual singles that have like album covers and art that is phenomenal art in your covers. Even this one on Homesick, it has these tiles on it, and it actually brings me back home. It reminds me of, you know, standing in the shower, quite frankly, you know, the floor of my I see the floor of my shower, and there's so many beautiful artistic expressions in art that are on all your album covers. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So most of my album covers have been done by 3 artists. One who was the first person I worked with on album art for my first 3 records, and then some of my first singles, was a guy named Frank Sabatella. And he's a feature film director. He's got an amazing eye.
Wow.
He was he sort of was a director of photography and really co-director with another friend of mine of my first music video. And so, you know, he's just been involved for a very long time when us working together. And so he's just got a great eye. And so he's done the full-length albums, the 3 full-length albums, Blakey in Theory, Basement Waves, Alchemist. He did all 3 of those. He did Searching for Bob Dylan, which is a really cool looking cover. And it looks just like an old Dylan record. He did an amazing job on that. So, and a couple of others. And then I also work with a friend. It's funny, I just spoke with him today for the first time in like 2 years. Just this morning, he woke me up with a text. A guy named Greg Kozera, and his art is phenomenal. He's a cartoonist, does a lot of animation stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He did Face the Wind. He did The Road.
Oh, one of my favorites, Face the Wind.
So thanks, man. He did a lot of the art. It's sort of like a series of covers that he's done where I appear in the cover a lot, and I have different, based on what I look like at that time when that song comes out, different hairstyles, different clothing. But he really kind of captured me. And he's got this crazy process. Frank and I do a lot of collaboration, which is great, and I so enjoy that. And then, Greg I send him a song, and he just kind of listens to it because he works in animation and very, cartoony kind of stuff, where anything's possible. Frank more so works a lot with photography and then graphic design. Greg just goes and listens to the song and kind of imagines these scenes that the song is describing. Face the Wind is like, when he showed me that, I think that's the first one he did. I was blown away, man, because I was like, this is what the song's about in a picture.
Face the Wind, I was blown away.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No pun intended, but I was just, I was like amazed at what he had done because he captured what I was saying, what I was trying to say in the song in an image that he drew. And it's me coming out of the dark woods with light ahead of me. And, it was unbelievable. It was just, I was blown away. So yeah, he did a few. And then another artist is a guy named Anthony Sabatella, who's actually Frank's little brother, who's this very, very talented illustrator. And he did the illustration for Cold Outside and for an EP of 3 songs called Mofo Portable. And yeah, he's, so I've just been very fortunate to work with great artists is the answer. The funny answer is that this one, Homesick, I was looking for a cover. And there's been one or two where I've just designed the cover myself. I had an idea in my mind, and I thought, this is going to be easy to accomplish, so I'm just going to do it. And like, hold on, I did that one. And so with Homesick, I was thinking, am I going to reach out to one of these artists? Am I going to do something? And that day, my dad sends me a picture that he found this little art project I did when I was 2.5 years old in 1982. And it was this tile thing. And he said, you made this in 1982, And so he sent me a picture that day. I had Photoshop open. And I was like, I just dragged the picture right into Photoshop. And, I used like a child-written font for the titles and stuff. And so it just looks like, it was so perfect, So it was just so perfect that it was really not much work, not much effort. It was a perfect fit. It was sort of delivered to me, that artwork.
It was delivered. Well, let's talk about that for a second. How your music is delivered. And I go back to what you said, how apropos the song is, but it was actually Homesick. It was actually written in 2018 and it's being delivered now. From your point of view, does art follow life, or does art precede life? Which does it unfold?
I think I don't think there's an answer. I think that's a chicken or an egg question. I think it's a cycle. I think art creates life, creates art, creates life. I would imagine life came first, sort of, because art is definitely requires intelligence and intellect and perspective, which and consciousness, which we didn't always have. So I think life was happening, and then at a certain point, we reached a level of consciousness to start commenting on life. We created art, but now I think we're just in a loop of certainly my life has been affected by Bob Dylan's art or the Coen brothers' art. And I've created art from that life. So yeah.
Which, for you, your relationship with music? How old were you when you caught the bug, or you knew this is your path in life?
I think 12 or 13. Yeah, I bought a bass guitar, and then a few months later, I bought an electric guitar, and then about a few months later, I got an acoustic guitar kind of gifted to me, and then that was where I found my instrument, was the acoustic guitar.
And which came first, music or the girl?
The girl.
The girl.
Yeah, definitely. I was writing poetry about the girl before I was even playing an instrument. So when I was about 12, I started writing a lot of poetry, and then bought a guitar. Really, I got a guitar just to have something to put poetry to, you know. That was the original point. Still is kind of.
Wow. Yeah, those two, when I talk to musical artists, they're really connected, you know, in some way.
Yeah.
So really cool, really cool.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Kenna, thank you. Always a pleasure. I'm Blake Ian.
And I'm Kenna James. Tune in next time. Come back and join us as we continue to explore the worlds of music, poker, and life. Thanks for being there.